Vatican City, the country you need permission from God to enter. There's a country you can visit, but you can never ever live there. A place where citizenship isn't a right. It's not even a privilege. It's a divine appointment. And when God, or more accurately, the Pope, decides you're done, you're out. Welcome to Vatican City. 0.17 square miles. That's it. Smaller than your local shopping mall. About the size of 60 football fields. This is the world's smallest country. And somehow it's also one of the most powerful. 800 people live here. Well, sort of. 453 are actual citizens. The rest, they're just there. No one is born here. Let me repeat that. No one is born here. There are no hospitals, no maternity wards, no birth certificates with Vatican City stamped on them. Every single citizen arrived from somewhere else, and every single one will leave. Eventually. This isn't a country. It's a 2,000-year-old corporation disguised as a nation-state. The Pope has absolute power. Not symbolic power, not constitutional power. Absolute, total, complete. He can change any law, override any decision. There's no parliament to challenge him, no courts to check him. This is Europe's only absolute monarchy. And nobody seems to mind. Vatican City owns art worth hundreds of billions of dollars. The Sistine Chapel ceiling alone? Priceless. The Pietà? Priceless. Raphael's rooms? You guessed it. They have secret archives that conspiracy theorists dream about. Bank scandals that would make Wall Street blush. And rules so bizarre that citizenship expires like a gym membership. Oh, and it's protected by Swiss guards wearing Renaissance costumes who could absolutely destroy you in hand-to-hand combat. This is Vatican City, where 453 people have the most exclusive citizenship on Earth, where tourists outnumber residents 30,000 to 1 on any given day, where you can visit, take photos, buy stamps, but belong, not a chance. Let's start with the obvious question. How is Vatican City even a country? It's smaller than Monaco, smaller than every other nation by a ridiculous margin. It has no natural resources, no agriculture, no industry. And yet, it's a sovereign state, with its own flag, its own stamps, its own coins, its own everything. Here's the wild part. Vatican City didn't exist until 1929. For decades, the Pope and the Italian government were in a Cold War. The Pope refused to recognize Italy. He called himself the prisoner of the Vatican. Then Benito Mussolini, yes, that Mussolini, decided to fix it. The Lateran Treaty of 1929 created Vatican City. Mussolini gave the Pope 109 acres of land, full sovereignty, complete independence. In exchange, the Pope recognized the Italian state, problem solved. Well, sort of. Vatican City became the world's smallest country, ruled entirely by the Catholic Church, specifically by the Pope. The Pope is head of state, head of government, supreme legislator, supreme judge. He's everything. There's a governor who handles day-to-day stuff, but the Pope can overrule him any time, for any reason, or no reason at all. This isn't democracy. It's not even traditional monarchy. It's theocracy on steroids. Now here's where it gets interesting. Vatican City exists for one purpose: to guarantee the Pope's independence. The Catholic Church has 1.4 billion followers worldwide. The Pope needs to be free from any government's control, any political pressure. So they created a country where he answers to no one, except God, allegedly. The Vatican has diplomatic relations with 183 countries. It sends ambassadors, called nuncios, everywhere. It has observer status at the United Nations. But it's not trying to be a normal country. There's no army. Well, except the Swiss Guard, but we'll get to them. No economy in the traditional sense. No citizens by birth. No natural population growth. 800 people live here. Most are clergy. Priests, bishops, cardinals. Some are Swiss Guards. Some are museum workers. Some are administrators. And all of them, every single one, is there because the Pope allows it. When you leave your job, citizenship revoked. Immediately. Retire from the Swiss Guard, you're out, no longer a citizen. Stop working at the Vatican museums, gone, citizenship cancelled. It's the ultimate at-will citizenship, and there's no appeals process. Chapter 2. The 453 Chosen Ones. Let's talk about citizenship, because Vatican citizenship is unlike anything else on earth. You can't apply for it. There's no immigration process, no citizenship test, no oath of allegiance. You're simply appointed. The Pope decides who gets citizenship. Usually it's automatic when you take certain jobs. Cardinals get it, high-ranking clergy, Swiss Guards, some lay workers. But here's the thing, it's temporary, always temporary. Vatican citizenship is tied to your function, your role, your job, not to you as a person. There are only 453 full citizens. That's it, for the entire country. And get this, only about 246 of them actually live in Vatican City. The rest live in Rome. They commute to their own country. Imagine being a citizen of a country you can't afford to live in. Oh, wait. That's every country now. But Vatican City takes it further. About 221 more people have residential permits. They live there, but aren't citizens. And roughly another 300 people work there, but live elsewhere. So the population is fluid, constantly changing. People coming and going. Now, here's a fun fact. No one is born with Vatican citizenship. Ever. Why? Because there are no hospitals, no maternity wards, no childbirth facilities. If you're a woman living in Vatican City and you get pregnant, you're going to an Italian hospital. Your baby will be born in Italy, with Italian citizenship. Vatican City literally cannot produce its own citizens naturally. It must import them. Every single one. Think about that. A country where the population can only come from outside, where birth is impossible within its borders. It's immigration without immigration policy, citizenship without birthright. And when you're done, when your service ends, you revert to your previous citizenship. Most Vatican citizens hold dual nationality anyway, Italian, Swiss, whatever. So losing Vatican citizenship isn't exactly traumatic. You just go back to being normal. But still, imagine a country that can revoke your citizenship the moment you're no longer useful. Actually, don't imagine it. It's depressing. Let's talk about the guys in the funny costumes. The Swiss Guard. Vatican City's army, police force and security detail all rolled into one. They wear Renaissance-era uniforms, blue, red, orange and yellow stripes, puffy sleeves, metal helmets. They look like they walked out of a painting. Tourists love them, take photos with them. Think they're ceremonial. Wrong. These guys are trained soldiers, Swiss military veterans, every single one. To join the Swiss Guard, you must meet strict requirements. You must be Swiss, Catholic, male, unmarried, between 19 and 30 years old. You must have completed basic training in the Swiss military. You must be at least 5'8", tall, and you must commit to at least 2 years of service. The Swiss Guard has protected the Pope since 1506, over 500 years. Their most famous moment? May 6, 1527. The sack of Rome. Imperial troops attacked the Vatican. The Swiss Guard fought to the death. 147 guards died protecting Pope Clement VII. Only 42 survived. They held the line long enough for the Pope to escape through a secret passage. Every May 6th, new Swiss Guards take their oath, commemorating that sacrifice. Today, there are about 135 Swiss Guards. They protect the Pope, guard Vatican entrances, patrol the grounds. They train in modern combat, firearms, self-defense, counter-terrorism. But they still wear those Renaissance uniforms, because tradition matters in Vatican City. Also, it's great for tourism. Let's be honest. Now, let's talk about power, real power. The Pope has absolute authority. No constitution limits him. No parliament challenges him. He can make law by decree. He can pardon anyone. He can change anything. When a new Pope is elected, he can literally rewrite the entire legal system if he wants. Vatican City's legal system is based on canon law, specifically the 1917 Code of Canon Law. It's religious law, church law, applied to a nation-state. Crime in Vatican City is rare, but when it happens, the Vatican has its own courts, its own judges, its own prison. Well, sort of. The prison is one cell. One. If you commit a serious crime, you're handed over to Italy. The Pope can also grant citizenship, revoke citizenship, exile anyone. He appoints the governor, the judges, everyone. There are no elections, no voting, no democracy whatsoever. And yet, Vatican City functions smoothly, efficiently. Maybe because when your population is 800 people and they're all committed to the same mission, governance gets easier. Or maybe absolute power actually works, when wielded by someone supposedly answering to God. Just don't ask what happens when the Pope makes a mistake. There's no recall process. Chapter 4. The money, the museums, and the mysteries. Let's talk about money, because Vatican City is broke and insanely rich at the same time. Confused? So is everyone else. Vatican City's GDP per capita is estimated around $21,000. That's not impressive. Lower than Italy, lower than most of Europe. But that number is meaningless, completely meaningless. Why? Because Vatican City doesn't operate like a normal economy. It doesn't export goods, doesn't have industries, doesn't collect income tax from citizens. So how does it make money? Tourism, donations, and those museum tickets you bought. The Vatican museums attract about 6 million visitors annually. Tickets cost €17. Do the math, that's over 100 million euros, just from museum admissions. Then there's merchandise, stamps, coins, souvenirs, religious items. Vatican stamps are prized by collectors worldwide. They issue beautiful, limited edition designs. The Vatican Euro coins, also collectible. Even though Vatican City isn't in the EU, it uses the euro through agreement with Italy. But the real money comes from donations. Catholic faithful around the world send money to the Vatican, Peter's pence. That's what it's called. Direct donations to the Pope. Estimates suggest the Vatican receives over $400 million annually in donations. That's from individuals. There are also donations from dioceses, from organizations, from wealthy Catholics looking to buy spiritual insurance. Now here's where it gets murky. The Vatican's finances are opaque. They've had bank scandals, money laundering accusations, connections to organized crime. The Institute for the Works of Religion, that's the Vatican Bank. It's been investigated multiple times. In 2013, Pope Francis ordered reforms. More transparency, more oversight. Has it worked? Depends who you ask. What we do know is this. Vatican City owns art, worth hundreds of billions. The Sistine Chapel ceiling, Michelangelo's masterpiece, priceless. The Pietà, Raphael's rooms, countless paintings, sculptures, manuscripts. The Vatican Library holds over 1.6 million books, 75,000 manuscripts, some dating back to the early Christian era. And then there are the secret archives, now called the Vatican Apostolic Archives. 85 kilometers of shelving, that's about 53 miles. Documents dating back 1,200 years, papal bulls, letters from kings, records of trials, including the trial of Galileo, the excommunication of Martin Luther, letters from Michelangelo complaining about not getting paid. Conspiracy theorists love the archives. What's hidden there? Evidence of aliens? Proof of cover-ups? Probably just boring administrative records. But the mystique sells books. The Vatican also owns property worldwide. Churches, schools, land. The exact value, unknown. The Vatican doesn't publish detailed financial statements, but estimates suggest the Catholic Church's total wealth runs into the hundreds of billions, possibly trillions. Vatican City itself? That's harder to calculate. How do you value the Sistine Chapel? How do you price St. Peter's Basilica? You don't. Because they're not for sale. They never will be. So, Vatican City is simultaneously poor and unfathomably wealthy. Poor in cash flow, rich in assets. It's the ultimate non-profit. Except it's a country. Chapter 5. Life inside the walls. What's daily life like in Vatican City? Honestly, probably pretty boring. You wake up, go to work, which is about a 5-minute walk, because the entire country is a 5-minute walk. There are no hospitals. If you get sick, you go to Rome. No schools. Children of Vatican residents attend Italian schools. No supermarkets. There's a small grocery store for residents, but most people shop in Rome. There's a pharmacy. It's famous for having lower prices than Italian pharmacies. People sneak in to buy medicine. There's a post office. Vatican mail service is actually more reliable than Italy's. Italians mail important letters from Vatican City. There's a gas station. It's tax-free. Residents save about 30% on fuel. The Vatican has its own railway station. Built in 1933, barely used. One of the world's shortest railways, about 300 meters of track. It connects to Italy's rail network. The station is mostly for importing goods, though Pope Francis has used it occasionally for symbolic departures. Vatican City has its own newspaper, L'Osservatore Romano, founded in 1861. It publishes the official news of the Holy See, papal appointments, encyclicals, Vatican statements. It's available in several languages. And yes, you can subscribe. There's also Vatican Radio, broadcasting since 1931 in over 40 languages, spreading the Catholic message worldwide. It's like holy propaganda, but with better production values. Vatican City has its own internet domain, .va. Vatican City has been surprisingly tech-forward. Pope Francis is on Twitter. Well, X now. He has millions of followers. The Vatican has a YouTube channel. Instagram. They live stream papal masses. It's medieval theology meets modern technology. And somehow it works. Crime in Vatican City is rare, but when it does happen, it's usually petty theft. Pickpocketing. With 20,000 plus tourists daily, pickpockets love St. Peter's Square. The Vatican Police, the Gendarmerie Corps, handles security. About 130 officers. They work alongside the Swiss Guard and cooperate closely with Italian police. Serious crime almost never happens, though there have been scandals. The murder of Swiss Guard commander Alois Estermann in 1998. Still controversial. The Vatileaks scandal. Secret documents leaked to journalists, financial impropriety, misuse of funds, cover-ups, but violent crime, essentially zero. You're safer in Vatican City than almost anywhere on Earth. Partly because everyone who lives there is carefully vetted, partly because there are cameras everywhere, and partly because committing crime in literally the holiest place in Catholicism seems like a bad life choice. Even criminals have standards. So, can you move to Vatican City? No, absolutely not. Not a chance, unless you're ordained clergy, or joining the Swiss Guard, or getting appointed to a high-level position, in which case, congratulations. You're one of the 800. Vatican citizenship is the most exclusive in the world. Harder to get than Monaco, harder than Liechtenstein. Because you can't buy it, you can't marry into it, you can't wait 30 years and hope for approval. You must be chosen by the Pope or by someone acting on his authority, and even then it's temporary, conditional, revocable. It's not really citizenship in the normal sense. It's more like a job benefit. You work here, you get a passport. You stop working here, you don't. But that Vatican passport, it's powerful. Visa-free access to most countries, diplomatic recognition everywhere. You can walk through airports with a Vatican passport and watch customs agents do double takes. Wait, you're from where? Tourism is different. Anyone can visit Vatican City. St. Peter's Square is technically Italian territory until you pass a white line on the ground. Then you're in Vatican City. No passport control, no border guards. You just walk in. The Vatican museums require tickets. Lines stretch for hours unless you book ahead. The Sistine Chapel is packed. Tourists craning their necks. Guards shouting, "Silencio, no photos." Everyone takes photos anyway. St. Peter's Basilica is free to enter. One of the most magnificent churches on earth. Michelangelo's dome, Bernini's baldachin, the Pietà behind bulletproof glass. You can attend papal masses, see the Pope during Wednesday audiences, but living there? No. Becoming a citizen? Forget it. Vatican City is the ultimate members-only club, and membership is by divine appointment only. You can visit the clubhouse, admire the facilities, buy a souvenir in the gift shop, but joining? That requires a calling, a vocation, a commitment to the Catholic Church, Or, being really good at standing still in a Renaissance costume while tourists take selfies. Vatican City is an impossible country. Too small to be viable, too powerful to be ignored, too sacred to operate by normal rules. It's a country where no one is born, where citizenship expires, where 800 people call home temporarily, where the Pope has absolute power, where art worth billions sits in museums you can visit for 17 euros, where Swiss guards in 500-year-old uniforms protect secrets in underground archives. Vatican City is a paradox, ancient and modern, transparent and secretive. Open to visitors but closed to residents, it's the world's smallest country, and somehow one of the most fascinating. You can visit. You should visit. The art alone is worth the trip. But living there, that's between you and God. And God's not accepting applications right now. Welcome to Vatican City, where you need permission from God to enter and divine intervention to stay.